Let's talk about university today. I'm at a random room at a university that I didn't even attend, but it's around October right now, and I know that it's just past like frost season, and school is getting into the grind of it. And I remember more than 4 years ago when I first stepped into this new country, I was so overwhelmed by not only university but also trying to adapt to a new culture. There are many things that I really wish that I could have told myself. So this is a tribute to my younger self and the things that I wish she would have known at the time, and all the lessons, all the pain, all the fun stuff that I learned through uni. The number one lesson that I learned throughout uni is that if you have an accent when speaking English, it's okay. No one is judging your English ability as much as your brain does. The fact that you have an accent just means that you know more than one language and you come from more than one culture. And that's a really incredible thing. Before moving to Canada, I remember already feeling pretty confident with my English ability, but when I moved here, it's definitely a big change to use English 24/7 and to have a lot of technical terms in classes in English. So it was a lot of learning. And sometimes I would stumble on my words, on my grammar when I talk to people who I know are really good at English, like English professors or students who major in English, students who major in history. Um, but it turns out that all of that overthinking is mostly created by me. When I speak to locals and people who speak English as their first language, they often don't judge other people's language ability too much. I think people are already in awe that you're able to speak their language, and I'm sure that being insecure about English is something that some international students can definitely relate, because when I have done group projects with people from all over the world, I remember that some students would apologize for the English ability when I just want to tell them that it's okay, you're already doing a lot, you're already in a new country learning all of these materials with very technical terms in a new language that is entirely different than your mother tongue. So that's really impressive. And what I learned over time is that what is more important than getting the grammar right or getting all the sentences perfect with the right pronouns or right vocabularies is actually understanding the slangs, the memes, the culture niche of the language and of the country that you are studying at. So over time, I learned that English is not only a skill that we can improve on, but also remember that people are probably not judging your English ability that much, and it's wonderful to have accents. It's a lot of cultural richness and a lot of heritage in the way that you speak and the accent that you have. So don't be shy and don't be ashamed of it. The second lesson that I wish my younger self would have known is that things take time, sometimes a little longer than you would have wanted. This could apply to things like friendships or learning the routes from home to school, learning who to trust, learning who would be on your emergency contacts. And I'm bringing a lot of social examples here because I remember that one of the things that I was most insecure about was actually not knowing who I was close enough to be on my emergency contact list when I was in first and second year. I remember that this insecurity would go with me into so many ways in my life back then. When I go to classes and I saw that other people have their group of friends, or when I went to the cafeteria to eat, I would often feel jealous and also insecure that other people seem to have a really solid group of friends. Whereas for me, I think I was really good at making new connections, but it was really hard for me and also for my new friends to have consistent schedules so that we can see each other more often and develop that friendship. And I felt like making friends in uni and as young adults was actually quite difficult because people may have different classes, different interests, people may come from different backgrounds, so there's not as much of a bond compared to when you went to the same high school or you live in the same country or same city for a long period of time, with a lot of trial and errors and also sitting at random places, making random friends. I was able to find my core group of friends, and that was through me contacting one of my first year classmates, and she was so sweet. She helped connect me with other friends of hers, and we actually connected through, I remember commenting on one of the drinks that she was having. She was having strawberry milk, and I was like, "Oh, I know that brand." And she was like, "Oh, you know this drink too?" So I look back with fondness into my third year and fourth year, because I remember feeling so happy that I was able to find a group of people I can trust and support and feel supported by them. Things will take time, but you will be okay. Definitely be patient and remember that this really difficult transition will become much, much, much easier. Another thing that I wish I could have told myself is, while you're in uni and it's a really big part of your life, you will still experience a lot of life events in between. So don't feel too rushed to get all the things you wanted to have done to be done in those 4 years. For me, time felt long, but also rushed at the same time when I was in uni. I think it was because I had these semester and yearly goals that I set for myself in terms of my academics and my social life, that I felt like I need to squeeze all of it in those uni years. An example is that when I was in uni, I wanted to finish it in 3 years, which is so ambitious. Um, but it was because I had some transfer credits from my high school. My initial plan of finishing in 3 years did not go to plan. I definitely took longer, but it turned out to be for the better, because it helped me to have time for other activities too, like extracurriculars, and also being able to see my friends rather than overloading myself with too many classes. And I know that in uni, it's probably easy to compare yourself with others. Maybe you might be comparing yourself with the people that you think that you have the same starting point with, like people you went to college or high school with. But I think when we look closer into everyone's experiences, at some point we would diverge into different experiences. So what I'm trying to say is, these changing variables make it actually really difficult and also unfair for you to compare yourself with other people, because we don't have the full list of what each person has gone through, of how all of those things have affected their decisions or their timeline to finish uni in a certain time frame. It's definitely okay to view other people's experiences as inspiration for what you want to do as well, but try not to see it as something that you definitely need to get, definitely need to replicate, because yeah, there are so many behind the scene elements that we don't see. And give yourself more credits to all of your efforts in university as well. Lesson number 4, you will learn and relearn a lot of new things. So don't be too hard on yourself if you haven't gotten it right the first time. And this applies to many things, not just academics, but also in the way that you interact with other people, in the perspectives that the new country and the new people that you meet will bring into your life. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I used to believe in hard work equals success, and hard work equals fair. So if you work hard, you get what you want, and that's fair. But what I realized in uni that really have challenged that is, hard work, it's not just putting in the work alone, but it's also a lot of privileges that allows you to take on that extra work, take on that unpaid or lower paid internship to gain the experiences that you have. So that's one of the things that I'm really glad that I have learned, because it changes the way that I see hard work, and it also helps me to learn where to share the resources and where to share information, where to help other people as well, who are trying to get those opportunities but may not have the time or the know-how to do those things. Studying abroad and attending uni definitely opened my eyes to a lot of new perspectives, a lot of social issues, in the new country and my home country that I have not previously thought much about. And I must say that it's definitely uncomfortable and scary to not knowing if you would say or do the wrong things when you have new perspectives coming in, and there are many things that are challenging your previous beliefs. So I definitely say that in those moments, acknowledge the uncomfortable feelings that this is something that I don't know, or this is something that I don't know enough to be able to respond appropriately. But definitely look into what that issue is, and also have an open mind to learn and to challenge your thoughts, and be respectful to the different experiences and perspectives that you encounter, because underneath all of that mess and all of that confusion and all of that unlearning and relearning is you will discover your values and acting more in alignment with what you believe in and also what you value in. Relatedly to one of the things that I relearned, and I'm so happy that this is something that I gained from my time in uni, is that people are more happy to help than you think. And I remember during COVID, when we have classes online, it's quite difficult to feel connected. But one amazing thing that came out of it is my class would have like group chats for people to help each other clarify the materials in the class. And one of my friends even made this quiz. It's like intense Kahoot version, um, that helps people like bring all the materials that we learned in class into questions, and we were able to quiz ourselves and able to like take a mock exam to help us prepare for the midterms and the finals. And knowing that people are willing to help and people are more likely to be cooperative than you think, it's something that I still hold to this day, and to have deeper connections because of it. Okay, lesson number 5, and probably one of the most important and valuable lessons that I have learned, is taking care of your personal finance doesn't mean you being stringent with yourself, but it's actually a lot more freeing than you think. A big disclaimer, I'm definitely not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing my personal experiences with building financial habits that helped me when I was a student, and also helped me a lot as a working professional now to understand where my money is going, and also to have habits that help me build a future that I want. As a student, and especially international student, I know that there are definitely constraints to the kinds of accounts that you can open and also when. But I would definitely suggest to use the time when you're not legally able to open those accounts yet to learn about them and learn the kinds of accounts that would be beneficial to your future selves. In Canada, that would be the tax-free savings account, the TFSA, or the Registered Retirement Savings Plan, RSP. I also didn't know that you could file taxes as an international student back then in Canada, but you can. There's actually quite a few perks to filing your taxes as an international student, such as being able to have some of your tuition as credit so that it can lower the taxes that you need to pay later on when you're working. You also get some cashback from the government, which is pretty nice as a student. And I know that it's really common to feel ashamed or uncomfortable or feel overwhelmed about these financial information, because it could be something that not a lot of people talk about openly when you grow up, or there are a lot of terms that you need to learn for the first time. I would say that taking time to learn these things is actually one of the most valuable skills, because I know that it's one of the best ways that I could take care of myself, of my current self, and also my future self. And a habit that I developed when I was in uni is learning how to budget and learning how to where to invest my money. Personally, I use the zero-based budgeting method, which allows me to allocate a task for the money that I have coming in, whether it's my small allowances back then when I was a student or when I started working as a professional. It basically just means that assigning a role for your money until the money that you start with and all the things that you want your money to go towards would come down to zero at the end. For example, when I get paid, I would allocate how much I need to direct it into my fixed expenses, like my rent, my bills, phone plans, things like that, and also look into my variable expenses, like projecting how much I would need to pay for my grocery bills, going out, things like that, and also saving towards my goals like my TFSA and my RSP, and also saving for other non-essential things like going on vacation. This method has really helped me save and invest better because I could see exactly the goal of what my money is, and it also motivates me to want to contribute more because I know that I'm getting close to my goal. So what I really suggest to learn during uni is develop a budget and try to understand where your money is going, and also learn about the financial system in the country that you're in. And when it comes to investing, definitely cast a wider net, like investing in an index fund that covers many companies instead of picking one stock or one company to invest in, because it's impossible for an individual to predict the growth of a company or stock in the stock market. And I think why it's important to learn these things, because it will develop a habit for you to understand that having a budget and having a plan for your money is not about limiting the things that you can do. It's actually making plans, making goals for the things that you want to do. It's actually quite freeing to know that what you're doing is beneficial for your current self, and you're also taking care of your future self. Another thing, make sure to use all of your student discounts at the grocery store, discounts for your phone bills. Definitely make use of it, and remember to learn to negotiate the best deals for yourself as well. And on the topic of money, another lesson that I really wish I would have done more is using money to have fun. I would say that I was being pretty responsible with my money, but what was really holding me back was spending money with joy and spending money with ease. When I was a student, I felt like I only have this much, and I was really scared about many things. I was like, oh, if I go out to get that $5 latte, that would be like $5 down in my budget. When I actually look back at it, I really wish that I have taken the time and also set aside the money to enjoy more things in the city, because a $5 latte, it's also the time that I could be productive outside of my usual like studies settings, and I tend to study better in public settings anyway, so that $5 would have a much better ROI, return on investment, than I would have imagined. I would be able to study in a new environment and also potentially make friends in that new cafe, and also learning about the cafe culture of the city that I was living in. So that's something that I really, really wish that I was able to do more, and was able to know that it's okay to spend money, and it's okay to spend money to have fun, as much as it's important to learn to protect your financial health and to learn about all the good habits that you have about money, like budgeting, negotiating, investing. It's also equally important to learn that spending money responsibly is also really fun and should be enjoyable, and should be something that you do without guilt or shame about doing fun things.